Hi there, this is Matt with State of Flux, here with yet another one of my Pixar movie reviews, this time talking about The Incredibles. And boy, is this a picture that lives up to its name. This film is simply incredible. A lot of people have compared it in the past to being the best version of the Fantastic Four, and while there's some truth to that, I think a lot of the characters share similar powers to the Fantastic Four. To me, this is the best version of Watchmen. Watchmen was a deconstruction of the superhero genre, much like this film is, but this film recontextualizes it in very human terms, just as Watchmen did, through the lens of the nuclear family. It also is placing commentary on the golden age of superheroes, as you see in the beginning of the film, and then modernizes it with the silver age of superheroes, even so far as giving the film an aesthetic of the 60s when the Silver Age really came into being, and a juxtaposition of storytelling that was the Golden Age versus the Silver Age in the comic book medium. The Golden Age had very fantastical things, done very heroic, very arch in how everything was done and accomplished, as you see in the beginning of the film. Then you get to the newsreel footage, which feels very 30s storytelling that you got around like wartime and stuff like that, before positioning itself and settling itself into what I consider the Silver Age of the comic books, which is essentially the rise of Marvel. And with the Silver Age came much more human storytelling. The Stan Lee of it all is the storytelling through the personal lens. Focus on the human first, super second. And that's what this film very much does. This is a movie about not superheroes. This is a movie about a family on the cusp of possibly disassembling. Or unraveling. A film about a midlife crisis, and then just applying superhero terms on top of that. You have the mother who's stretched too thin, represented by Elastigirl, who has the ability to stretch herself but keep pulling it all back together. And that's how she feels like she can hold this family tight, and she quite literally does so at several points within this film. You have the dangers of maybe the male, the father's wandering eye, but put through a superhero lens, it's him being pulled not into an affair, but into his old life, that longing for something that was before, when you truly felt incredible, but now are settled into a family, and maybe you're not, your mindset isn't quite there yet. This is tackling stuff in a very human lens, very intelligently, while also framing it for kids to enjoy. This movie is fun, it is funny, it is brimming with life and excitement, and the superhero stuff really works. I will say that the last act of this movie is my least favorite act, even though it's the most rousing part of it. But it falls into standard comic book movie tropes. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. I think it works very well. This movie is, as I say, incredible, but it stops placing commentary and starts just being an action movie. And this is something that has harmed other comic book movies in the past. Black Panther comes to mind, an incredible movie with just kind of a so-so final act. But this one did have an incredible scene that laid the groundworks for why the ending works so well, which is the whole thing with the cape. That gets put to exceptional use in this. I also want to touch on the incredible voice work of Craig T. Nelson as Mr. Incredible, Holly Hunter as Elastigirl, and Jason Lee as, you know, your modern fanboy. This film also tackles, way ahead of its time, toxic fandom at its most extreme. And the fact that this is more relevant today than it was even when it originally came out is just jaw-dropping. I also should touch on my initial thoughts of this movie. I saw this movie in theaters back when it came out and stuff, and I was really impressed by it. It was at the time one of my favorite Pixar movies. I stand by that to this day. The thing that blew my mind, and I just remember coming out of the theater and talking with my friends, is how incredible everybody's hair looked. This was the most realistic looking hair I'd ever seen in animation. And with each film, Pixar finds something to task its creative team with to bring to life in the most realistic way. This time it was clearly hair was the focus, and hair on everybody is just stunning. I absolutely loved how real it looked. But Jason Lee gives a great performance as the toxic fanboy, and you can see the mindset here is the same mindset that gets dumped into the current toxicity within the Marvel fandom, the DC fandom, the Star Wars fandom, Star Trek certainly fandom, and you see all of this put to the screen 20 years ago, and how relevant that is. That to me is just mind-boggling. But this film is fantastic. I don't know if there's much more to say beyond that. I love the characters, the character work, the human element is really what makes it soar. And then you have a fun action caper on top of it, complete with like a 60s kind of soundtrack brought in by Michael Giacchino. I think he was the first composer that wasn't Randy Newman to compose a Pixar film. Randy Newman did the first 5 features. This time we get Michael Giacchino, who would step in from time to time within these features and deliver some excellent work. This is probably my least favorite score of his within the Pixar mythos, but even still, it is great, and it's one that I do listen to from time to time because it is fun and bouncy and very evocative of your Mission Impossible, James Bond era 60s television and features. So, I give this film a insanely strong 3.5 out of 4 stars. Let me know what you thought about this film in the comments down below. Thanks for watching, like, subscribe, do all that good stuff. Peace.